want to welcome our speaker tonight, author Russ Fahrner. He has been retired since 2004. He was Dean of Students at Elgin Community College, and along with Bruce Bohrer, he wrote the book, Chicago, the Great Retirement Resource. So welcome, Russ.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here in Prospect Heights. Is everything, can you hear me all okay, everybody? Okay. Today's workshop is called Embrace Retirement. And 3 things we're going to do. Number 1, explore options for you. 2, can you discover some more resources for your retirement experiences? Or can you start to think about, when you retire, more retirement resources? And they asked me to talk a little bit about how Chicago can be a resource or an option for you guys. My partner apologizes. He would have been here tonight. Bruce Bohrer, he was from Harper College, and he had a family matter, so I'm just here tonight. Bruce retired in 2002. I retired in 2005. So 39 years of retirement experience we have. We're going to talk a little bit about some structures, 7 components, a retirement plan. I'm going to ask you lots of questions that you don't have to answer, and some of the questions are going to be on that sheet of paper that we passed out. And there's going to be just a variety of resources in the Chicago maybe to think about in terms of your retirement. That's the sheet of paper that has kind of the questions that I'm interested in, and I'm interested in finding your answers for retirement. So let's get started. Where are you on your retirement journey? Who is at the very beginning, not retired? You're still working. Okay. Who is transitioning? Just retired, trying to figure it out. Okay? And who's a long veteran of retirement? Okay. The question that I have for my friends and for you is, do you want to improve it? Do you think once you move even to the next step, will you want to improve your retirement experience? And what I find is it's an ongoing gig. People are always working at retirement. It's not fixed. First question. What makes you happy in retirement, or what will make you happy in retirement? Anybody? 3 things. Research, my experience, Bruce's experience, our other retirees saying, have fun. Make differences. And share and care with friends and family. What connects you to retirement? To a happy retirement. What you love, your passions, your curiosities, your past skills, your present skills, and maybe your future skills. What you've accomplished. Hi, come on in. We just got started. No. And treasures. I put Chicago treasures, but treasures that you use to help you in retirement. Jay Gentile wrote this article. I found it in Google. I always use Google. I just am on the internet all the time. 60 things to do in Chicago before I die. Have any of you done any of these things? Museum Triple Crown. Go to all 3 major museums in Chicago. Drinks at the Signature Room, up on the top. A picnic at Pritzker Pavilion. A fighter pilot for the day. Any runners? Do the Chicago Marathon. Go to Graceland Cemetery. How about a Sox game or Schiller's Park before a Sox game? Take a water taxi from Chinatown to Chinatown. And they have that going again. Visit 77 neighborhoods in Chicago. Bike the entire length of the lakefront. Has anybody done any of these? Yes. Do any of you plan to do any more of these?
I'm going to go to Scholar's Pub, wherever that is. You can never find it. All you see is Sox Park is parking.
Yes.
McCuddy's, we all of us old timers remember McCuddy's, and
Yes.
that never revived itself.
No. No, there's a great story I told you.
Yeah, I'll hear that later.
What tools and resources do you use? So, what I have found in the top 3, experts, friends and family, and research, is that people are willing to talk about it. When you find someone that you think is happy in retirement, talk to them. What are they finding? And research, there is so much research on the internet about retirement and what people are doing. What we're going to add are 3 things to that list. Talk a little bit about a bucket list, but I'm not calling it a bucket list. I'm calling it a doable bucket list. 7 components that I think will structure retirement for you. And will you put in place what I call a retirement action plan? Bucket list. A lot of times I ask people what's on their bucket list, and they kind of brainstorm. And they go, yeah, I'm going to do this and that. I'm going to lose 70 pounds. I'm going around the world. I'm going to do this, this, this. And when I find them a year from now, they haven't lost any weight. They haven't gone around the world. They haven't done anything on their bucket list. And research kind of talks about shrinking a bucket list to a thing called a doable bucket list, where maybe it's shorter version. So, yeah, I'm thinking about going to Italy next fall, but in 2024, but do I need to start by October to find out how much it costs, where can I stay, what kind of flights go there, anybody else interested, and begin making the bucket list doable for you. And then, do you evaluate your bucket list items? Did I do it? When I first retired, I said to myself, with my wife, we're going to travel around the world. That's the thing I want to do. And until I found out how much it cost to travel around the world. I went to Milwaukee. The components that we're going to talk about in the next hour are work, finances, living arrangements, relationships, health and fitness, hobbies and activities, and events and social networks. I'm not going to spend much time on social networks. And all I have written about and talked about in social networks are how are you communicating using things like Facebook and other ways that the world is starting to communicate. But we're not going to talk much about that today. These are some pictures of me and Bruce in terms of how we're doing some of these 7 components. So that's Bruce and I at a book signing. So we're working. I found in terms of Chicago, it is financially better for me than living where I lived when I wasn't retired. I lived in Fox Lake. The property taxes in Fox Lake were $17,500 in my house. The property taxes in my condo when I moved was $85,000, half. I don't need a car. I mean, I don't need 2 cars. We have 1 car living in Chicago. So retirement got me thinking about finances a little bit differently. And this card is to reduce, anybody have the RTA card to travel with buses and trains? Like, I mean, isn't that such a great deal? I mean, it cost me around the city, I think, $1.88 to, yes. Did you?
I didn't know it existed.
Pardon me?
I did not know it existed.
It exists, yes. Go to RTA.
Yeah, and if your income, not your assets, but your income is below a figure of something like 20-some thousand, or maybe even less, I think it's less, you are entitled to a complimentary card.
Yes. They might have, well, they keep changing that thought. They had it for sure during the pandemic. I don't know if they changed that, but I think it could be. They, oh, okay, good, good.
Yeah, it's still there, and you just go into any local senior center and they'll help you with the paperwork, fill out a little application, just be honest about your actual income, not your assets.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised how you come.
But even the regular card for how much money you make, I take the train and buses all the time and it costs next to nothing to use it. I have, the third picture is, I have a home also in Florida. So my living arrangements is a combination of living in Chicago and living in Florida. And I hear lots of people talk about, yeah, I don't need this big house anymore, I want to do that. But it's not a doable bucket list thing for them. I just hear it being a thought. And they don't want to get involved in all of the hassle of getting rid of stuff and all of that stuff. Anyway, I love being with my grandchildren. That's Eli with George. I'm a boater. One of my passions is water, and I'm always out doing some, and this is a fitness activity, kayaking. And I'm going to ask you to consider fitness activities that are fun for you later on. Boating, boating, boating with friends. And there's Bruce doing the ride the drive. Anybody bike the drive? It was just the other day in the city. Okay. So, component 1, work and volunteer in retirement. One of the things that I did is I made a presentation to a company, a retirement company, and I walked in and I showed them this work and volunteer in retirement. I got booed. And I go, why are you booing me? They go, we're not going to work in retirement. But then I walked around the group afterwards. Every single person in that room was doing some kind of work, but they weren't thinking about it as work. They were thinking about it as consulting. They were thinking about it as teaching. They were thinking about it as having fun in their own business. The concept of work changes when you retire. Do you know that in work, it's the largest group who owns small businesses today are retirees? Bruce and I own Brussels. It's a little retirement company. We sell books and do workshops. Retirees are employed doing many types of jobs, not necessarily linked to what they did full-time work. And a lot of them work. Bruce I wore this, first I thought he was coming, but he's a Cub fan. And what he did when he retired, he became a Cub usher for 9 years. And he had a ball in Wrigley Field, and he loved it, and he wrote a book on it, and I have it over there. The Cubs were his passion. He loved it. We love talking to retirees. We're retired. So get out of your brain that you can't do a thing called work, because you can, or volunteer. A friend of mine's an attorney. He was driving to go boating with me the other day, and Jack says to me, you know, I made one phone call in my car. I made enough to pay for the entire day. He goes, isn't that kind of nice? So his rule for working is I want to work only 50, he's an attorney, 15 hours a week. I don't want to go into an office. I want to work from home, and that's how I want to do it. And he does it his way. Okay. Volunteering. Mila. We walked into a Chicago theater to watch a play, my wife and I. Mila was directing us to our seats. And I said, well, do you get paid for this? She goes, no. I go to these plays 3 seasons of the year. I take the summers off, and I just go to a play every week, and I just show people where they sit, and I have a ball. And I don't pay a thing to any of these concerts or plays in the city of Chicago. And there's all kinds of places that people volunteer to be part of. Broadway in Chicago, and museums, and just have a ball doing that. And Pat is my neighbor next door. She's a volunteer for Sail Chicago. It's the largest non-profit sailing club in the city. And she takes people out. She loves to sail. And she has a ball helping people learn her passion. Bruce and I have 10 thoughts about working and volunteering. Work at your hobby. Help your friends in your community care for their pets. Entertain, sing, and dance and as a job. Own a business. Write. People who like writing, write. Teach, tutor. Any teachers in here? Are you going to teach? Part-time. How about lead an adventure? Take some people up the Grand Canyon. Care about things going on in the city or in the suburbs. Problem solve. A friend of mine is an accountant, and every Saturday during tax season, he goes down to a community of impoverished people and helps them with their accounting. And he loves doing it. Consulting. You have great skills, you have great stuff. You can go in and you can consult, and you can feel good that your knowledge is worth something. Why Chicago? Project Management Training Institute says a couple of things. Number one, no better place to find a job. You can find jobs of your dreams there, and it's great playing after work. Anybody work in Chicago or have worked in the city?
Spent a lot of time working.
Spent a lot of time, yes. If you're interested in looking at work in Chicago, 2 Google websites to consider: Job Hat and Simply Hired. And volunteering, 3 recommendations: Beth Brittle, Yelp, and Volunteer Match, if you're interested in looking at. Finances and retirement. I talk with my financial planner because I'm not good at it. I need some help. And him and a few of other my friends who really are focused on income and investing and things, what they're saying about finances for retirees: 1, people need to have a reliable, steady stream of income. 2, they continue to invest. 3, they reevaluate or evaluate their need for stuff. Do you need as big a house? Do you need this kind of car? Do you need this kind of boat? Do you need to go to restaurants during the evening as opposed to happy hour dining? Do you ever go to happy hour dining and love it? And it costs 1/3 or less of what a dining experience at a restaurant would cost. Do you need to budget for your living arrangements, your family, your health, your hobbies, and your activities? Do you budget for those kinds of things when you retire? And do you have a goal of passing money on to your family? We don't. We told our kids, no. If you need something, you get it now. That's our rule. But a lot of people say, no, I really want to give my kids a pot. Chicago, just from my point of view, I do the senior fare programs. I don't own a second car. My property taxes got cut in half when I moved there. My insurance pays for fitness opportunities through, I keep forgetting the name of it, Silver Sneakers. ARP reduced my car and home insurance by $1,000 2 years ago. I compared what I had to what they have, same benefits, $1,000 difference in financial for me. And I'm a big proponent, yes? ARP insurance. It's, what's the name of it? Hartford. Yes, thank you, the Hartford. Happy hour dining. My wife and I love happy hour dining. Do they have good happy hour dining in Prospect Heights? I don't know. Okay. Bargains and discounts. 4 I'm just recommending to you. Groupon, hotel deals, sports discounts, Chicago City Pass. I went to a White Sox game for $8 sitting in the upper deck. And lately they had the $19 special where you got 2 beers, a ticket. So a lot of bargains and discounts around. But you need to investigate. And you need to investigate, one thing is Google. Retirement and living. I had a major house, and now I have a little condo. And I don't find, other than I wish sometimes the kitchen was just a tad bit bigger, but other than that, I don't. What do you want in a home or homes? Anybody thinking about downsizing? You did? Anybody thinking about it more? Okay. That's the number one thing when people are talking to me in retirement about living arrangements, they're saying about downsizing. And they're saying about moving for a variety of reasons. They want to have a place warmer sometimes. They want to have a place close to grandkids, place close to parents, place close to an aunt who has a disability and has a problem. Will you need one floor? Will your health deteriorate and you need a different living arrangement? Would you like to reduce costs? Would you like to have different weather? How's your view? My wife, when we lived on the lake, and I kept looking at the water in my old home, and I said to her, I love this view. I need water to see. And she says, Russ, there's water all over. And our home in Chicago, we have water. My home in Florida, we have water. What do you guys want in terms of, maybe, and view might not be important to you. It was for me. And there might be other factors in living arrangements that are important to you. So what are they? Chicago is highly rated residential destination for retirees, either full-time, part-time, or vacation basis. Anybody go there for a couple of weeks? Live in a hotel. VRBO. Anybody want to? Chicago has, I get into these discussions with people and I go, do you see the news? You see how crazy it is down there? And I'm having a ball in the city. So there's another side of it. And I'm living with a bunch of retirees. Have you ever visited? I started to explore more and more the different neighborhoods. Did you ever go to Hyde Park and the restaurants in Hyde Park? Pretty nice. How about Lincoln Park? My daughter-in-law has a hair salon in Lincoln Park. The near south side, I almost bought a condo on the near south side, but I wanted to be in the loop. I wanted to be near Millennium Park and the water. And anybody grow up in Chicago here? Where?
Jefferson Park.
Jefferson Park. Do you go back?
Pardon?
Do you go back?
Not now.
Not now. Okay. Anybody think about 55 and over communities? When we moved into Chicago, we looked at, are we going to rent? Are we going to buy? We weren't going to vacation rental or hotels, but we did consider 55 and over communities. And it wasn't just for us, but a lot of retirees love 55 plus communities. How much time are you spending with friends, family, and pets in retirement? We never had pets until I started to see my friends with their pets and read about how pets are helping people in retirement. Anybody here have an animal? Yes. They're just, do you hug at night and hug the, yes. Anyway, how much are you experience or will you experience your retirement with grandchildren, with children, with other relatives, with friends? And with them, will you have more opportunities? The picture here is of Rick and Connie, our friends from Florida, and they do every year, they celebrate their grandkids' 13th birthday. And they take the kids somewhere. So they called me. They go, we're coming to Chicago. They live in Florida. We're coming to Chicago, and what do you suggest? So with me was my grandson Eli. I gave the phone to Eli. I go, would you talk to these people? And I go, they said, Eli, what should we do with the 13-year-old? He said, oh, there's a lot of things to do. Why don't you, White Sox game? Go to a White Sox game with them. How about, what's the name of this thing? The bicycle, what's the bike that you, with the wheels? Segway. He says, take them on a Segway tour. Go to the parks. How about the 95th floor? Go out there. Get a Chicago hot dog. And he kept on and on. The people came to Chicago. They had a blast. Their grandson and the grandson brought a friend, and they had a ball. So what are some things? My wife and I love date nights in Chicago. We go on short and long-term adventures, different places. We did jobs together. We went back to school when we were retired. I got a teaching degree to teach English as a second language. So did she. We worked for the community colleges. Then I worked with executives who I know now around the world, and they're inviting us. Did I tell you that I'm going to their home in Lake Como next October? I mean, so the opportunities, when you just keep going. Grandchildren, are you taking your grandchildren places? Zoos, museums, Cubs games? No. Sports attractions, biking, water activities. Do anybody boat? Anybody boat with their kids? Do they just love it? Amusement parks, parties, second home visits, trips, college visits. How about family? Do you take your kids out to restaurants? Do you go to brunches? Friends, you know, I have not seen one thing that has gotten people more together than a sport called pickleball. It is unbelievable. All these retired people are playing pickleball, and some can't even hardly hit the ball, and some just smash the ball, but they all play together, and the thing that's happening is pickleball is starting to bring people together for other things, other get-togethers. Do you go to any kind of significant event on a routine basis. I went to 47 White Sox openers. And now I'm going to Florida, so I got to watch them on TV. Do you have a fitness buddy? Do you have another retiree that you go for a walk? Walking is, I guess, the number one exercise for retirees. Everybody walk some days of the week here? Okay. Pets. Oh my God, my cousin, my sister-in-law, my friends, walk, 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 parks, 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 travel with their dogs, care. And it's like their best buddy. I'm going to share just briefly some Chicago quarterly events. And have any of you been to any of these? So the winter, ever seen the lighting of the tree in Millennium Park? The Christmas outdoor markets, the holiday plays, the skating rinks. 2 great skating rinks downtown Chicago, the Ribbon and McCormick Tribune Ice Rink. The Chicago Parade and the lighting down Michigan Avenue in Wacker, and there's fireworks during that. Cross-country skiing at Northerly Island. Did you ever go to the Lincoln Park Zoo with the holiday lights? Chicago Theater Week. Discounts, Chicago Theater Week. Art on the Mart. The Merchandise Mart has million square footage of property. Anybody have been in the Merchandise Mart? It still does. On the outside, Art on the Mart. Inside, all kinds of activities. Spring. This year, I got on the river. I belong to Freedom Boat Club, and I got on the river for St. Patrick's Day. Oh my God, was it great. I've gone to, like I said, 47 opening White Sox games. I have an opening boat season on the chain of lakes. But now I boat all year round because I get boats in Florida, Chicago, and the chain. Have you ever walked either on the Chicago River or on the lakefront? Have you jogged? Have you done? The views on the river now keep getting better. Have you gone to Restaurant Week in Chicago? It's great. I think it's the eating capital of the world. New York would probably disagree with me, but I think Chicago is number one. I went to the Chicago Sky Parade when they won it. Oh my God. The people were just out of their minds. Summer. Have you gone to a beach? Have you dined outside? Have you cruised in a boat? Have you done an architectural tour in Chicago? I found even a better one. Have you ever heard of the fireboat cruise off of the Columbia Yacht Club? The Columbia Yacht Club has a fireboat that does sunset cruises, firework cruises, and river cruises. Their river cruise at night, oh my God, they're better than the architectural tour. I just went on one last week. Navy Pier Fireworks, my wife who's watching, it's her number one event in the city. Every Wednesday and Saturday from Memorial Day to Labor Day, fireworks at Navy Pier. And they are spectacular. They go for 10 minutes and they're out of this world. There's different parades and activities like Pride Fest, Taste of Chicago. Anybody gone to that? Outdoor concerts. Have you been to a concert at Millennium Park or Grant Park? They're fantastic. Art fairs all over the city. And biking and Segway and that. Fall. Halloween. Want an experience? Go to Halloween in Chicago with your kids, grandkids. Haunted tours, fall festivals, museum exhibits. Did you ever see on a Saturday in the fall when the boats are being put away? And all the bridges, there's 18 bridges in the city of Chicago, and one at a time they raise. And it's unbelievable, that whole experience of watching the boats go through the river. And sports fans, Blackhawks are coming, and so are the Bulls. I don't know about either one right now. Health and fitness. Do you have a regular health routine? Do you regularly see a doctor? Do you regularly do fitness kind of activities? Do you pay attention to particular things on a regular basis? Not just when it's a problem. Fitness. Are you doing fun fitness? That's me swimming with my grandkids. It's a blast to swim with your grandkids. For me. Do any of you do any of these activities? Pickleball, kayak, walk to events, Zumba, biking, tennis, swimming, boating, golf, any golfers? What else? What else are you doing for fitness that's fun? Besides these, is there something else I ought to mention? Just some resources for you. If you're looking for some locations for fitness programs, the Chicago Fitness Plus program is a good resource. Parks all over the city of Chicago, and gyms. Some gyms, if you look on the internet, have spas and restaurants that are connected to the gym. The Chicago beaches, there's 20 of them, 28 miles of Lake Michigan, and you can do all kinds of stuff, even fetch with your dog on those beaches. Chicago Bike Pass. Anybody bike here? 303 miles of on-street biking and 55 miles off-street biking in the city. That's my train set for my grandkids. Do you have a hobby? Do you do hobbies in retirement? Can I hear anybody have a hobby? Reading. Yes. I kind of broke it up into there's a number of ways to look at hobbies: collecting, making, activity, participation, playing, and arts. 5 different categories. Stamps, rare coins, trains, comic books, cars, baseball cards. Anybody have a baseball card collection and sold it? Oh man, if we had the baseball card collection that my mother threw away, oh my God. Recorders. Anybody doing genealogy? Spotters. Hundreds of birds all over the place with bird watching. There's even a thing called ghost hunting. Do you know anybody that looks for ghosts? Any gardeners in here? Anybody taking the painting classes, photography classes, creating candles, cutting boards? Anybody collecting wine, making wine? All different kinds of hobbies that retirees are into. Activity. Anybody still play a sport? Anybody jump out of a plane for skydiving? sail, kayak, care for animals. Okay, someone here must have gone on a Chicago tour, an architectural tour, a restaurant tour. There's all kinds of tours. Woodworking. My wife, when she retired, took a woodworking class. I go, oh no. Oh no. Playing, axe throwing. Have you ever seen anybody do an axe throw? It's big now. And I don't even know how to explain beercades. There's a hobby of beercading. Bowling. My father, when he retired, was the oldest bowler for 20 years in Antioch. Does anybody still play in a sports league? Run, basketball, play baseball. The rowing things are big. Roller derby is still around. And golf. There's all kinds of golf courses. And the pandemic brought golf courses back. For some, I don't know. Arts, music, dance, acting, photography, theater, visual, literary, art. So, some questions about hobbies in Chicago. Do you collect items, and have you ever gone to a Chicago collector's store to see what they got? Yes? Cars. Yes. Did you buy one? 500 of them. You're into cars. Good. 200 bird species off of Lake Michigan. In the Lincoln Park area, there's places that people go with cameras all the time to spot birds. Cutting boards, architectural tours. Have you ever played golf on a Chicago golf course? Have you ever taken your grandchildren to a play in Chicago? We took them to see the, it used to be called Marshall Fields, and then it turned into Macy's. And downtown there's the big tree, and we took them to that. Oh my God. We could not get them out of there. We wanted to, but we couldn't. Events in your retirement. Do you have specific events that you go to with family, friends, your buddies? Music and food festivals, athletic contests, parades. Anybody go to a parade anymore? Holiday celebration, air show. Our number one event in Chicago is the Chicago Air Show. We have a party in our building every year. It is a blast watching the planes just fly by our roof. That's our air show. And do you celebrate special seasonal events with friends or family? I talked a little bit about the dying of the river. Anybody here go to a White Sox or a Cubs opener? Or any other sport opening game? It's special. Have anybody gone down to Chicago for the Navy Pier fireworks? It's spectacular. Taste of Chicago? A cultural parade, the Air and Water Show, Printers Row Lit Fest. That's what Bruce and I were just there last Saturday. Wine festivals in Lincoln Park. The magnificent light, that's a picture of the magnificent lights. And then there's fire, all kinds of interesting pictures of fireworks going on there. Have you been to the One of a Kind show at the Merchandise Mart? It is a spectacular venue if you want special treats for the holidays. And it's called the One of a Kind show at the Merchandise Mart. Have you ever gone to a boat show? I bought a boat at the Chicago Boat Show. Have you ever gone to Broadway in Chicago? We just went to see MJ there, Michael Jackson, my wife and I. Yes. Okay, so do you have an action plan? Have you thought about an action plan for retirement? And there's 3 things I think about for an action plan. What issues do you want addressed? What action steps do you need to take? And take action. Don't just think about the action. And then do you evaluate it? Okay, did I do anything? Did I get the hotel reservation in Italy? Or am I just thinking about, next year I'll do it? So, some components and issues to think about. Would you like to work or volunteer? Would you like to improve your financial situation? Would you like to have a different living experience? How would you use your family and friends for fun experiences in retirement? I found that reunions got me in touch with some friends that I'm very close to today. I went to my 50th high school reunion, and I went to my 50th college reunion. And the 50th college reunion, that guy, Russ, when are we going boating? And I boat with him all the time, and just great fun. And my high school guys, I'm really connected to them on Facebook. And a whole bunch of friends I'm connected to in a group called Mensa. But our definition of Mensa is all of the group together equals a Mensa score. What hobbies are you going to do? Is there a thing for fitness that you're going to have to deal with and have an action plan with for retirement? Yes, I need to be a little more flexible. I just took ARP has a driving test or a driving course that will reduce the payment for ARP. And so it's 8 hours. I did 4 of it. And you should see all the tips that they have for seniors and for people like me in terms of fitness, flexibility for driving a car. How you turn your head, how you get in and out of the car, how your vision has to adapt at night, and lights, and it's kind of interesting. Action. Can you identify whether or not this action you're about to take has a liability or a benefit for you? So traveling around the world was a liability because I did not have the money. Our company is a great benefit because I love getting up here and talking to people about a thing I love, which is retirement. Do you have some tools? Do you use calendars at all? I'm going to do this then. I'm going to meet these people then. I'm going to do that. I think a calendar, and my wife is really good at calendars, and I'm trying to get there. But do you discuss your retirement with anybody else? I talk about it with my wife. I talk about it with my friends. And I read about it. I read a lot about retirement and what people are doing that makes them happy. And are you evaluating how you did? Did you do it? Did you do any part of it? Can you afford it? Can you accept the change? What else needs to be done for you to have a great retirement? To embrace it? That ends the workshop. That's the book that a lot of this is from, Chicago, the Great Retirement Resource. You can get this book if you want online at Eckert's Press, and Eckert's Press is a great publisher in the city of Chicago, have all kinds of books, not just so. That's a resource for you. That's our first book, Embrace Retirement. It's a website, and I've got some cards that have my email address and my website. And Bruce wrote a book about 9 years with the Chicago Cubs. Any questions? Yes?
I'm retiring Saturday, 50 years.
Pardon me?
I'm retiring Saturday.
7?
Saturday, I'm retiring.
I'm retiring Saturday.
Saturday. All right. You're going to go through a transition because of that fear. Most people that I have talked to, and myself included, is that I don't know, you know what the previous years have been like. And now you're opening the door to a new situation. And sometimes in retirement strategies, there's a transition. Try some things and evaluate and take a look at it. A lot of people do not have it figured out, ever. A lot of people don't have it figured out in the middle. But some people are having it figured out and having a blast. I'm having a blast. My wife and I had lunch before this today, and she turned to me and she says, "Can it get any better than this?" And we're just sitting in the rain at a restaurant in Chicago. And I'm going off to talk with the retirees, and we're thinking about 18 other things we're going to do, and she goes, it's great. And she just had her knee done, and she's hobbling around, and she's still saying that. Good. Pat, yes.
Nothing stopping that.
Nothing stopping her, no. Any other questions?
Well, you certainly have opened up a whole new vista. Just sitting, I thought I was really getting myself mentally prepared for this big day, you know. Live a real active lifestyle now, but I can tell I don't want to just sit around and sleep till noon, that's for sure.
And you might someday want to sleep till noon, or take a nap, or just turn off and sit on the couch and read all day. But then there's some days that you're going to say, no, I don't want to be in the house at all. I want to get out and I want to do something. And there's so many things to do.
Oh, Chicago is an oasis of activity. All year long, not just summertime from Memorial Day to Labor Day, all year long.
All year long. All year
And
long.
public transportation is fabulous, you can get anywhere, oh, it's unbelievable.
And
There's
the
all
people
kinds of-
in the city are fabulous.
Mhm.
Are fabulous.
I concur, I agree. You're fabulous, you've done a great job with us tonight.
Anything else? Yes.
Curious, you mentioned that your wife took up woodworking.
Yes.
Was that
She went to a course. She went to a course, and then she used the machine at the course, you know. And then she goes, Russ, we need to get. And I go, geez, I don't. And we got one, but we never plugged it in.
what caused her to? I mean, just to do.
It just went in her brain. She goes, I'm going to try it. A couple things happen. I noticed that people go, I love this, being on water. I love working with my hands. I love reading about new things. I like traveling around the world. And sometimes they go to what they were familiar with in the past and bring that forward into different kind of new arenas. Or, I never tried this. I want to see what that's like. And that was her. I want to see if I like woodworking. Yeah. And she doesn't do woodworking. She's a reader. Oh my God. She's in book club after book club after book club.
And she still got time for woodworking, right?
Yes, she does. Yes.
Another great activity for people, be an election judge.
Yes.
And if you really want the experience, I did that, took some time away from what I was doing. Sign up for early voting. You'll work like a couple of weeks, and you treat it like a regular job. You go in at 9 and you leave at 5, and you can work the big election day if you want to. But what a great experience to work with others, get to know so many people, have great conversations, help them do their civic duty, and you're doing your civic duty at the same time.
Yes.
You're helping them.
Yes.
And it's a great social experience.
Yes. Yes.
And they need it. They're short of election judges, whether you do it on the one day or whether you do 2 weeks of early voting.
Yes. I haven't done that. I get involved in my building stuff, the condo. Anything else?
There's no questions on Zoom, so we can close up the Zoom. Thank you. I think you've given us a lot to think about, Russ.
Okay. Thank you.